ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रयविनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नमः। समस्तजनकल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। Hari Om, salutations to all. So we saw in this 7th canto, in the beginning, Parikshit Raja has asked this question that if Bhagavan is supposed to be equal to everybody, why is it that he takes the side of the Devatas and he kills the Daityas? And so the answer given there is Bhagavan is no doubt same to all. As he says in the Gita, Samoham Sarva Bhuteshu Name Dveshyosti Na Priyaha. Ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya maite teshu chapyaham. Those who are worshipping Bhagavan, Bhagavan says they are in him and he is in them. Otherwise, he is same to all. And Shankaracharya ji gives that example of fire. So fire is that which gives heat, light equally to all. In a on a particular night, winter night when it is very cold, if one lights a fire and sits close to it, one will feel the warmth. If one is sitting very far away, one will not feel the warmth. Same way, the devotee is one who is remembering Bhagavan and feels the grace of Bhagavan. And even for the demons, those who don't remember Bhagavan, in that sense, those who are more about their own ego, even to them when Bhagavan kills them, he only gives them mukti. So, in the example, there's a limitation. The person sitting far away from fire doesn't feel the warmth of it. That is to say that the fire is not partial. If they come closer, they will also feel the warmth. But here, Bhagavan goes one step ahead. Even those who are, forget not even remembering him, those who are even hating him, who are even cursing him, abusing him, they also get mukti. So, we saw that the whole Vedantic explanation was given by Shukdev ji, that how this whole Srishti is only, there's only one truth. But then if we don't see that, then there is, through the play of Maya, this duality and Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, etc. they appear. And so then there are various forms, etc. that one gets identified with, and Bhagavan, using the power of three gunas, becomes the Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, does the creation, sustenance and destruction. And so those people who are identified much with the Tamoguna aspect, so he says here that Bhagavan, in this verse number, here it is, 11. So that same infinite consciousness, using the power of Maya, Prakriti and Purusha together, they who create the whole Srishti, and that same Lord becomes Kala and destroys the Srishti also. So here he says that the Lord, who is the infallible creator in conjunction with Prakriti and Purusha, brings forth the running time, Kala. And now that Kala fosters the element of Sattva. Hence Bhagavan at the dawn of creation, and Bhagavan makes the whole Srishti happen. And that time what happens? The Devatas, the divine beings, Rishis, all of them, they also get created. And he says here that the Lord, who enjoys an extensive fame, fosters as it were the host of gods as their friend, and exterminates their enemies, the asuras, dominated as they are by Rajas and Tamas. So Bhagavan destroys those who are, but they who get destroyed, they also get mukti. Now, Bhagavan is free from this hatred towards the Danavas. Though he is killing them, he is free from hatred towards the Danavas or the Daityas. And to explain that, Shukadevji says that once Yudhishthira had asked this question to Naradji, when in the Rajasuya Yajna it was decided that they have to worship Bhagavan, they want to worship Bhagavan Krishna, who is the Supreme. And Shishupal was not able to bear that. So at that time, Bhagavan had given the promise to Shishupal's mother that I will tolerate 100 insults, and when those are over, I will have to kill him. So when Shishupal criticized Bhagavan 100 times, that got over, Bhagavan with his Sudarshan Chakra cut off his head, Shishupal died. But when Shishupal died, the Jyoti from him came and merged with Bhagavan. So that is where it is, the question that has been asked. See this verse number. So Yudhishthira Uvacha from 15 onwards. Aho atyadbhutam hyetad durlabhai kantinamapi vasudeve pare tatve praktish chaidyasya vidvishaha. How did he get absorbed in Bhagavan Krishna, the supreme truth? Even great yogis don't attain that state so easily. And then how did this Shishupal, he is such a bitter enemy, how is it that he merged with Bhagavan Krishna? That is such a great wonder. See, this is the beauty of Sanatan Dharma. That how even somebody who is condemning, criticizing Bhagavan is getting mukti. There is no blasphemy and then crucifixion or killing or stoning to death, nothing. Even that person who criticized Bhagavan, he got mukti. Shishupal got, Dantavakra also got. Dantavakra is another maternal aunt's son for Yudhishthir. So, he says here that we want to know that this King Vena, he was sent into hell by the Brahmanas because of his behavior. We saw that in the earlier, and he was against Bhagavan and he was very materialistic, and he used to trouble the people in the kingdom. Many things like that we saw, and then Brahmanas finally killed him and he went to hell. So why did this Vena go to hell, and why did this Shishupal merge with Bhagavan? So he asked that the sinful Shishupal, the son of Damaghosha, as well as the evil-minded Dantavaktra, they had a grudge against Bhagavan Krishna ever since Shishupal was a child. And so now, how is it that his mouth did not have any, what is given here is, patches of white leprosy did not appear on their tongue, even as they blasphemed more than once Sri Krishna, who is none other than the supreme and imperishable Brahman. Nor did they enter the blinding darkness of hell. How did they attain absorption directly into Bhagavan? Katham tasmin bhagavati duravagraha dhamani pashyatam sarvalokanam layami yatuhu anjasa. Everybody is looking, and in this sabha, the teja of Shishupal and Dantavakra merged with Bhagavan Krishna. So how did that happen? Etad bhramyati me buddhi Deepar chiriva vayuna, like the flame flickers because of the wind. In that way, my mind is getting agitated. So please, you clarify this. Now, Naradji replies, this portion is a very beautiful one. Shukadevji says that Naradji was pleased to hear the question, and then he replied to Yudhishthir. What did he reply? Narada Vacha. Nindanastava satkaran. Nindanastava satkara. Nyakkarartham kalevaram. Pradhana parayo rajan. Na vivekena kalpitam. So Naradji says that this body is brought about because of aviveka, lack of separation, discrimination between Purusha and Prakriti. So the identification of Purusha with the Prakriti brings about this false notion that I am this Jiva. So he says that this body is brought into being by this lack of discrimination between Purusha and Prakriti. For what? For all this Nindana, Stava, Satkara, Nyakarartham. For criticism, for praise, for honor, for contumely, like that. Meaning to exhaust karma, one has come until one took the body, now one has come here. Himsa tad abhimanena danda parushya yor yatha vaishamyamiha bhutanam mamahamiti parthiva. So now he says that because of this identification, this ahamta and mamata is born. And in the mind of the living beings, this aham and mama, when it is born, then of course there will be pain. They will bring sorrow. And there arises a feeling of pain as a result of resort to force and reproachful language. Even as the destruction of living beings is considered non-different from the destruction of the body. So the death of the jiva body one considers as my death. Because of ahamta and mamata, one thinks I am this and these are my people. And so this aham and mama, they are the cause. Ego and possessiveness or attachment. Gurudev used to call ego and egocentric desires. So these make a person feel that when body is dead or body is destroyed, one feels I am destroyed. And so the person lives in delusion. So Naradji goes on to say that Bhagavan Krishna is the infinite consciousness, he is the supreme Purusha, doesn't have any this wrong notion, false identification, and in him there is no duality. So there is no question of any dvesha rising in his mind. The raga and dvesha will rise in the mind of those who have identification with the BMI, who have aham and mama. Though Bhagavan Krishna kills Shishupal, it is not out of dvesha. Just like a person has to cut some part of the body which has become cancerous or which has got infected, and then there is no way to save the whole body, the only way is to amputate that one part. Person doesn't have dvesha. In that way, he says here that in Bhagavan Krishna there is no such notion of aham and mama, because he is one with the he is one infinite consciousness. And so on what ground can violence be ascribed to him who was indeed the chastiser of his foes? Therefore you fix the mind in him. He says here, parasya dama karturhi himsa kenasya kalpyate. It is only to give the proper fruit of their karma. Bhagavan did that. And he will give the reason. What is that karma because of which he got that fruit where he got killed by Bhagavan? He will explain that. But the point is, even when Bhagavan is doing, he is not having a dvesha. When he says, Samoham sarvabhuteshu name dveshyosti na priyaha, I am equal to all beings. I have no dvesha towards anybody and I have no attachment towards anybody. No aversion, no attachment. These are examples to see. That is not some theory that Bhagavan is speaking, but that is the truth. Now, before we go ahead with this, we have to also understand here this one more aspect is this ahamta and mamata, they are born from Bheda Buddhi. So ahead when you go, it will come, the Prasanga Prahladji will come. In that we see that Diti gives birth to Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu. So Diti is the Bheda Buddhi. And Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, so Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha, they represent Ahamta and Mamata. Remember this much. We will elaborate this when we go ahead. Because it came here, I am just explaining that now. The seed is sown here. It will germinate in some time. So Aham and Mama. Hence, Naradji says one thing very nice. Tasmad vairanu nirvairena bhayena va snehat kamena va yunjyat kathanchin nekshate prathak. This is one of the very famous verses of Bhagavatam. That hence what one should do is one should worship Bhagwan in any bhav. What are the bhavs that are given here? Tasmad, hence, vaira, through enmity, fix the mind, or anubandhena, through bhakti, or nirvairena, through tasmad vaira anubandhena, nirvairena, without any enmity, pure love for Bhagwan, bhayenava, out of fear or out of fear. Then snehat, out of attachment. Kamena, out of lust. Yundyat, kathanchin nekshate prathak. Then what will happen? In any of this way, when you remember Bhagwan, you love Bhagwan, or you hate him, you have fear, you have hatred, you have lust, whichever way, the mind of ours has so many impurities. Even through those, if one remembers Bhagwan, he says that this person will see nothing else except Bhagwan then. Na ikshate prathak. Meaning one will see only that everything is divine. That vision of oneness, one will attain not only through Bhakti Marg, where one loves Bhagwan in a positive way, but even through this Vaira Bhakti, Dvesha Bhakti, Bhaya Bhakti, Kama Bhakti, one will get same vision. In fact, Naraji goes one step ahead and he says that Yatha Vairanu Martyas Tanmayatam Yat Na Tatha Bhakti Yogena Iti Me Nishchita Matihi. Very powerful. Naraji, he is a devotee, such a great devotee of Bhagwan. He says that this is my firm opinion that how you attain oneness with Bhagwan through Vaira Bhakti, you don't get that even through regular Bhakti. See that. Vairanu by enmity towards Bhagwan, by dvesha towards Bhagwan. Martya Tanmayatamiyat, one attains identity with Bhagwan. Na tatha bhakti yogena. With regular devotion, one doesn't attain that. See, now don't misunderstand this. Ki, chalo, from today onwards, I start hating Bhagwan. What is the main point of saying this? The main point of saying this is that in whichever way possible, connect to Bhagwan, remember Bhagwan, and be one with Bhagwan. Why is it that Dvesha Bhakti is more powerful? Because in that Dvesha, one feels the hatred, one thinks about the enemy, one The bhavana is there, the thinking is there, and even at the body level, then one feels like you see some of these asuras, they want to hurt Bhagwan, harm him, destroy him, abuse him, insult him. And the intensity there is so much. Now, the point is, it's not that bhakti intensity in the mind of a devotee is lesser. Intense bhakti, when the devotees have, they are able to surrender to Bhagwan, they are able to give up their life also for Bhagwan. They don't think twice. That bhakti is no doubt intense. But if a mind is polluted and is not able to come to that level, and the mind is filled with dvesha, then through that also remember Bhagwan. That's the point. It's not that I should now pollute my mind and start hating Bhagwan. Don't misunderstand this. The idea here is that Shishupal had jealousy, and Bhagwan, think about this, that is the nature of the Srishti. The more successful one is, the more powerful one is, the more enemies also one creates in that sense, because people are jealous, people are wanting to pull you down. When Bhagwan himself was there, now think about it, Shishupal, Duryodhan, Dantavakra, Jayadratha, Poundrak, so many of them, they did not appreciate Bhagwan for who he is. They were jealous of him, they undermined him, they thought he is only a cowherd boy. And Bhagwan himself says that in the Gita, that avajananti mam mudaha manushim tanumashritam param bhavam ajanantaha loko mam ajamavyayam. These deluded fools, avajananti mam mudaha, they are deluded, they don't know. They think I am just one human body, one form that I have taken, son of Vasudeva and Devaki, and born to, born in this jail. I'm cowherd boy, having some kingdom of Dwarka. They don't know. Avajananti mam mudaha manushim tanumashritam. Param bhavam ajananta. They don't know my supreme nature. So very few know. And those who knew, they wanted to worship Bhagwan, and so they were worshipping Bhagwan and offering water at his feet. Bhishma and Yudhishthir, the Pandavas and Drona and all of them, whoever was there, they knew Krishna is Supreme Lord. But these other people don't know. And so their mind is polluted. Bhagwan says, even with that dvesha, you remember me, you will become one with me. So if I am not able to give up dvesha, then turn that dvesha towards Bhagwan. If I am not able to give up kama, turn the kama towards Bhagwan. If I use kama and I think about people in the world, I will only fall in my evolution. But that same kama, if I turn it towards Bhagwan, then it will lead to liberation. And he gives here one example, Naradji. This is a famous example in Vedanta also, where we say Kita Brahmara Yoga. So the wasp brings a worm and puts it in the wasp nest. Mud nest, it is made on the wall, and it puts it puts the worm in the nest and comes and sits on the opening of the nest and keeps stinging this worm. And every sting that the wasp gives, the worm is crying in excruciating pain and is scared. Out of that fear, it goes on thinking of the wasp, and finally it becomes a wasp. That's what he says here. Kita peshaskrita ruddhaha kudyayam tamanusmaran samrabhavaya yogena vindate tat sarupatam. Becomes like sarupatam, becomes like the wasp. Why? Because out of fear it is going on thinking of only that. Today people are saying the same thing or not in a different language. To manifest what you want, you keep thinking about it, you will attain what you want thoughts become things, all that. This is at a different level. The metamorphosis happens of this worm into the wasp. In that way, the devotee anyway attains oneness with Bhagavan, remembering Bhagavan in a loving way. But the others who have bhaya, who have dvesha, who have kama, who have matsarya, they also become one with Bhagavan because continuously they are remembering Bhagavan only through that. So that's why he says, Evam Krishne Bhagavati Maya Manuja Ishware Vairena Puta Papmanaha Tamapuranu Chintaya. So, in this way, you remember Krishna. That's what he says. Who is that? He is Supreme Ishvara. He is the one who uses the Maya, creates the whole Srishti. He is not an ordinary human being. So, think of Krishna in that way. And he has come by his own will. Maya Manuja. Maya Manuja means by his own will. He has not come here because of some karmic bond or pushed by last Janma's karma. We may attribute some karma of past life, past avatara to him, but Bhagavan is never bound by any karma. He comes only by his will. Sambhavami Atma Mayaya, he says. We may say that, in the earlier life, these monkeys, they served him so much as Ram, that monkeys served Bhagavan, and Bhagavan wanted to give them something. So in this life, those monkeys only have become the gopis, and then Bhagavan gave them so much of joy. In that last life, he killed Vali from behind the tree. Now that Vali has become the Jara, the hunter, and he shot Bhagavan. Now, like that, one can say, Bhagavan is never bound by any such karma. That we are saying just to connect some things, just to show compassion of Bhagavan, just to show that Bhagavan also, when he takes a human form, by his will, takes up some karma. In our case, it is not like that. We are bound by karma, helpless. Even if we don't want that karma is to be exhausted, we have to go through that. Bhagavan is not like that. So that's why he says, Evam Krishna Bhagavati Maya Manuja Ishware. Vairena, you worship Bhagavan even through enmity, through hatred, Utam, you will become purified. And that's why he says, with the sins thus washed off by constant contemplation through animosity on the Almighty Lord Krishna, who appeared as a human being by his own will, people attain to him. And easily and speedily too. Now, examples are given here now. Naradji is so clear. He is simply not saying ki by this also you will attain, by lust also, by dvesha also, by fear also. He is not simply stating. He is also giving examples ki who attained Bhagavan through which form of bhakti. So he says kamad, dveshad, bhayat, snehad, yatha bhaktieshware manaha. Aveshya tadadyam hitva bhavas tadgatim gataha. So many people have attained oneness with Bhagavan through these different forms of devotion. Through kama, through kamad bhayad, through fear, then through dvesha, through hatred, through attachment, and through devotion. Different things people have used to drop their sins and attain oneness with Bhagavan. So the examples are Gopyah Kamad, Bhayad Kamsaha, Dveshat Chaidyadayo Nripaha, Sambandhat Vrishnaya, Snehad Yuyam Bhaktya Vayam Vibho. 6 examples he has given. So what are those examples? The gopis, they attained him through kama. So ahead when we come, we go to the Dashama Skanda, etc. There one will see Gopika Geet, etc. will come. The gopis were married women, but they still loved Bhagavan, and their devotion is the supreme. Naradji himself gives the example of gopis in the Narad Bhakti Sutra. He says, Yatha Vraja Gopikanam. Who has the supreme love for Bhagavan? Only one name comes to his mind. The best form of love is the love of the gopis. So, though they were married, they worship Bhagavan as their husband, as their beloved. Also, we should remember Krishna Bhagavan is not just human being there. He is Bhagavan, Purna Purushottama he is. Every single jiva is married to Bhagavan only. In that sense, we have unnecessarily separated ourselves from Bhagavan and come. One has to again unite. So, it is not that they are having some extramarital affair with some other man. He is Bhagavan, he is not ordinary human being. And their love for him is absolutely at a different level. So Kamad Gopyaha, then Bhayat Kamsaha. Kamsa is all the time scared. Eighth child, where is that eighth child? He is going to be born, he is going to kill me, and he is going on thinking of eighth child. Through that also he is thinking of Bhagavan only. So Gopyaha Kamad, Bhayat Kamsaha, Dveshat Chaidyadayo Nripaha. So Chaidya is Chediraj. Chediraj is Shishupal. So Shishupal, Dantavakra, all these, they are having aversion towards him. They have some form of jealousy also. Krishna Bhagavan is being glorified, praised, worshipped, and he can't handle this. So that is his example. Chaidyadayo Nripaha. Then Sambandhat Vrishnayaha. The Vrishnis, Bhagavan is born in the Vrishni Kula. So through their familial association and bond and love, these people who are the family members, they also attain mukti. Then snehad yuyam, out of love, you all, meaning the Pandavas. Bhaktya vayam vibho. And he says, all of us, Naraji refers to himself and the other devotees, rishis, mahatmas, out of devotion. Katamopi na venah syat panchanam purusham prati. So he says now about uh, Vena. Vena is not, so he says Vena did not fall under any of these five categories of contemplation on Bhagavan. He didn't think of Bhagavan. He was a non-believer completely. And in that sense, if you think about it, non-believer deprives himself of mukti. Because these other people at least they acknowledge existence of Bhagavan and they are connected to Bhagavan, they remember Bhagavan and they take the name of Bhagavan also. They remember his form also. And so this also tells us, the mind, whatever it entertains, it will become like that. And it will manifest that also. So the mind is thinking of Krishna, 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 Krishna all the time and they attain oneness with Krishna. Of course, that is grace of Bhagavan. We should not think that it is by our effort. Nothing happens like that. This happens only by grace of Bhagavan. But the principle is this. A non-believer is not believing also in existence of Bhagavan and denying the ultimate cause of the universe. What happened? All controls have to be put off. Whiteboard, everything. People are tampering with their controls. Okay, so we were saying that uh, the atheist doesn't believe in the existence of Bhagwan and deprives oneself. These people, through these five forms, no, what was said, kama, bhaya, dvesha, then sambandha, and bhakti. Through that, the believer is connecting. Whichever way is connecting, at least is connecting to Bhagwan, and so he will become one with Bhagwan. Yad bhavam tad bhavati. What is the bhav that will happen? So by rejecting, and forget rejecting, one is rejecting existence of Bhagwan as a sentient, intelligent cause of the universe, as the infinite, supreme, causeless cause. Then one is thinking of inert things as the cause, five elements, matter, you know, that is the cause of the universe. How, if you go on thinking of that, the buddhi will become jada only. One has to come to that sentient cause. So that's why I say that Vena Raja, he did not attain oneness with Bhagwan because he didn't have any of these forms of bhakti. And because of his karmas, bad karmas, he went to hell. Not because he criticized Bhagwan. He went to hell because of his bad karmas and how he was troubling people. So the Brahmanas, they killed him. So now here we find one very powerful line. He says, Tasmat kenapyupayena mana krishne niveshayet. This line we should remember. This is one of the most famous lines of Bhagavatam. Tasmat kenapi upayena mana krishna niveshayet. With through any means, just absorb the mind in Bhagavan. If regular bhakti is not possible, do this Vaira bhakti, Dvesha bhakti, Bhaya bhakti, any of these. But think of Bhagavan. We can apply this at any other time also. If our sthai bhav is regular bhakti, then when we feel anger, then direct anger towards Bhagavan. If we feel lust, direct it towards Bhagavan. Jealousy, direct it towards Bhagavan. Fear, direct it towards Bhagavan. In any situation, remember Bhagavan. If I can't direct it towards Bhagavan, chant the name of Bhagavan. Just mantra, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, or Sri Krishna Sharanam Mama. Any mantra. Remember Bhagavan. That is the crux. So here, when Naradji has said this, Tasmat kenapi upayena mana Krishna niveshayet. Whichever form you want, you remember Bhagavan. In whatever way, whichever emotion you want. Look at the freedom Sanatana Dharma gives. Show me one culture which gives this level of freedom. You can hate God, you can criticize God, you can fear God, you can, lust for God, you can have devotion for God, you can admire God, you can do anything. Whichever way you like, connect to God. That is the main point. Bhagwan will do the rest of the thing. You just connect to Bhagwan. Naradji says that. So he says, Matrishva Seyo Vaschaidyo Dantavakrascha Pandava Parshada Pravarau Vishnoho Viprashapad Padachitau. So the Shishupal and Dantavakra both were killed. So this Dantavakra, who is he? He is also another maternal aunt's son for Yudhishthir. Shishupal also is like that. So both of them, who were they actually? Parshadav. They were the Dwarpalas, or they were the gatekeepers of Bhagavan Vishnu. Who are they? Jai and Vijay. and they were cursed to come down from Vaikuntha because of the Brahmanas, Sanat Kumars. So when he says this, Yudhishthir says this, Naraji says this to Yudhishthir. Yudhishthir wants to know what kind of curse is that. Yudhishthira Uvacha. Kidrisha Kasyava Shapo Haridasabhimarshanaha Ashraddheya Iva Bhati Hare Rekanti Hare Rekantinam Bhavaha. We want to know, he said, I want to know that what kind of and whose curse was it that prevailed even against this. See, to become gatekeepers of Vaikuntha is not easy. One has to do so much tapasya, one has to remember Bhagwan, and they are looking exactly like Bhagwan. They have Sarupya Mukti. The Dwarpals will look like Bhagwan only. They will have Shankha Chakra Gada Padma. So that Sarupya Mukti doesn't come just like that. So Yudhishthira is wonderstruck. He said, how these such great devotees, they also got cursed and then they fell and now they become the Rakshasas. In this context, the kings, but as we know, Naraji will also explain, Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu, Ravan and this Kumbhakarna, and then now the Shishupal and Dantavakra. Some people think it is Kamsa and Chanurak. It is not Kamsa and Chanurak. It is Shishupal and Dantavakra. So here it is that Yudhishthira is asking that question, and you think about it. In Vaikuntha also, if there is a chance from Vaikuntha to fall on the earth and fall in such yonis, then what should one really strive for? Is Jivan Mukti, is to know the self, is to know infinite consciousness, to be one with Bhagavan in the absolute nature. Till that doesn't happen, this cycle will go on. So that is the purpose of this explanation also. So here he asked that question, that the incarnation of those who are exclusively devoted to Sri Hari appears something very incredible. Please tell me more about it. That how did they who were in the Vaikuntha, who don't have a physical body, who don't have indriyas, who don't have prana like all of us, they are in a subtle form, Sukshma Sharir they have, and they look like Bhagavan. How did they fall and who cursed them? So Naradji says, the whole story he narrates that one day there are these Brahmanas who are Sanat Kumars. They are sons of Brahmaji, Manasa Putras of Brahmaji, four of them, Sanak, Sanandan, Sanatan and Sanat Kumar. They are eternally 5 years old and they are Digambara. They don't have any clothes. They are naked and very, very wise, full of renunciation and bhakti. They did not want to take the creation forward. And so Brahmaji finally created other rishis, Marichi and Atri and other rishis and Kashyap, etc. And then the creation went forward through them. These four of them, they remain in that state as a child always, but deepest in their knowledge. So they roam around the three worlds. And once they came to Vaikuntha, and how they came, by Bhagavan's will only they came. See that. Ekada Brahmana Putraha Vishnor Lokam Yadrichaya Sanandanadayo Jagmuhu Charanto Bhuvanatrayam. By Bhagavan's will only they came. Yadrichaya means that. By Bhagavan's will they came. And when they came there, they look very small, 5 years old. So these Dwarpals, they thought, who these children are? They just come here. And they don't have any clothes also. So these gatekeepers, they stopped. Jay and Vijay, they stopped them. Digvasasa Shishun Matva Dvasthau Tan Pratya Shedhatam. They stopped Pratya Shedhatam. अपश्यन् कुपिता एवं युवां वासं न चार्हतः रजस्तमोभ्यां रहते पादमूले मधुद्विषः. So they got stopped, and the Sanat Kumars, they also saw. What did they see? That they have become very egoistic, arrogant, and the sages got very angry, cursed them. What did they curse? That you don't deserve to even dwell at the feet of Bhagwan. Forget serving him with the ego that you have. Padamole madhudvishaha. Papishtham asurim yonim balishau yatam ashvataha. You don't deserve to serve even the soles of the feet of Bhagwan. So you go and fall on the earth, and Bhagwan's feet are free from Rajas and Tamas, and you have come into the mode of Rajas and Tamas. So you enter into the sinful demonic wombs immediately. See that. Papishtham asurim yonim. Balishau yatam ashvataha. Immediately go into the yonis, go into the womb of the demonic yonis. Evam shaptau स्वभवनात् पतन्तौ तै कृपालुभिः प्रोक्तौ पुनर्जन्म भीर्वाम त्रिलोकाय त्रिभिर्लोकाय कल्पताम. So as they were falling, what did they say? You will return here to the same post after 3 incarnations. Now see that. Tribhirlokaya kalpatam. So 3 lives they have to be born in sinful, demonic, in sinful asurim yonim, he said. Now Naradji says, what are these 3 yonis, where they were born? So he says that they were born as Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha, the sons of Diti, glorious as Daityas, adored by all of the Daityas, Danavas. And in that, Hiranyakashipu is the elder one and Hiranyaksha is the younger one. And Hiranyakashipu, we will see his story now. But Hiranyaksha story has already come earlier in the 3rd canto, where Varaha Avatar happened, Bhagavan killed him. So that Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksha, that is one pair. Then second pair is, before he goes to second pair, he explains here that Hiranyakashipu was having hatred against his own son and he tried to kill his son, and so Bhagavan took Narsimha Avatar and he killed Hiranyakashipu. So then he says the second avatar, second pair is as Ravan and Kumbhakarna. Tatastau Rakshasau Jatau Keshinyam Vishravasutau Ravana Kumbhakarnascha Sarvaloko Patapanau. They were reborn as Ravan and Kumbhakarna, powerful, glorious, renowned in the world. They were born to Vishrava Rishi and Kaikasi or Keshini. Yes, same name. I mean, same person, 2 names. In Uttar Ramayana in Valmiki, it comes Kaikasi. Here it is Keshini. Then Tatrapi Raghavo Bhutva Nyahana Chapa Muktaye. Bhagavan took form as Ram and he killed Ravan and Kumbhakarna. Rama Viryam Shroshyasi Tvam Markandeya Mukhat Prabho. You will know more about him through the Rishi Markandeya, Naradji says, so I am not going to explain that right now. And those same 2 Dwarpalas, they are now born Taveva Kshatriyau Jatau. So Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu, they are born as Daityas. Ravan and Kumbhakarna born as Asuras, Rakshasas. And this Shishupal and Dantavakra, they are born in the Kshatriya Kula. Which again means to say that the birth is not determined only based on that physical janma as in the yoni, because it was said asuri yonim. Now is a kshatriya yoni, rakshas yoni, and daitya yoni. So it is not just the physical birth, it is the temperament. Their temperament is asuri temperament only. What is the asuri temperament? Which is full of negativity, which believes in ego, power, indulgence, enjoyment, destruction. That is asuri yoni. Ahead, as we go along, the refinement of the definition of asuri yoni also will keep happening. One who knows a lot but does not live is an asura. Think about that. Ravan, such a big jnani, it seems, Veda, etc. he studied, but how he lived, he's an asura. So, subtler definitions go by the mental temperament, not by the birth. Now here he says that those very Rakshasas, Ravan and Kumbhakarna, now they are born in this Kshatriya race as what? Shishupal and Dantavakra. Matrishwa Tratmajau Tava, your maternal aunt's sons, your cousins. So, Adhuna Shapa Nirmuktau Krishna Chakra Hatam Hasau. So, Bhagwan killed them and released them from Shapa. What looks to us as an act of violence is an act of compassion where they are released. They again went back to become the Dwarpalas. That's what he says now. And why did that happen? Because they had Vaira Bhakti towards Bhagwan. Vairanu Tivrena Dhyaye Nachyuta Satmatam Nitau Punarharehe Parshvam Jagmatur Vishnu Parshadau. They had Vaira Bhakti, and hence what happened? They became one with Bhagwan, and finally they also got their role as the doorkeepers of heaven, Vaikuntha once again. So now Yudhishthir asks that please tell us, Vidvesho Daite Putre Kathamasin Mahatmani Bruhi me Bhagavan Yena Prahradasyachyutatmata. Yudhishthir's mind is now on Prahladji. So he wants to know that such a nice young boy who was so devoted to Bhagwan, why did this Hiranyakashipu have such hatred in his mind towards this Prahlada or Prahlada? Both mean the same. And also tell me the circumstances under which exclusive devotion to the immortal Lord sprang up in the heart of Prahlada. How did he come to have such bhakti? So now the story of Hiranyakashipu and the background of Prahlad, etc. will come now. But what is the point to understand from this whole episode? This is the second chapter that is got concluded today. The main point of this is what? That in whichever way one wants, one should remember Bhagwan. Sorry, this is the first chapter that got concluded. Second chapter will start now. So in whichever form, and those 5 forms which are given of bhakti, one can use any of those forms to think about Bhagwan, or choose one of those as the main bhav, and when the other bhavs rise, direct them to Bhagwan. Suppose my sthai bhav is I love Bhagwan through the regular form of bhakti. Then other bhaktis, other emotions, whenever they arise, direct it to Bhagwan. If you are upset with somebody, say to Bhagwan, be upset. Bhagwan, why are you disturbing me like this? Why should my mind think about that? And what is the attachment in me because of which I am disturbed? You help me to find out that quickly and get out of this attachment. Now one is thinking of Bhagavan, or I hate you, Bhagavan. Why did you put me in this situation? Why did you put my mind into this kind of a situation? I don't like this. Whatever grievance you have, you take it out on Bhagavan. So whichever way, through vaira, through dvesha, through bhaya, through kama, through bhakti, whichever form, one should remember Bhagavan, yena kena prakarena mana Krishna niveshayet. Connect to Bhagavan. Now comes the glorious charitra of Prahlad ji, most beautiful. Before that, we see Hiranyakashipu also and his backstory that we take up in our next satsang. Any questions for today? Okay, so we do the arati.
आरती प्रिया प्रीतम की मंगल प्रीति रीति धूम की मंगल कांति हसनी दसलन की मंगल मुरली दीना धुन की मंगल आरती मंगल बनिक त्रिभंगी हरि की मंगल सेवा सब सहचर की मंगल सिर चंद्रिका मुकुट की मंगल छवि नयन में अटकी मंगल आरती पभी अंग अंग की मंगल गौर श्याम रंग की मंगल अति कटी पियरे पट की मंगल चितमणि नागर नट की मंगल आरती मंगल शोभा कमल नयन की मंगल माधुरी मृदुल पैन की मंगल वृंदावन मद अटकी मंगल क्रीडन जमुना तट की मंगल आरती मंगल चरण अरुण तरुवन की मंगल करणी भगति हरिजन की मंगल जुगल प्रिया बावन की मंगल श्री राधा जीवन की मंगल आरती प्रिया प्रीतम की मंगल प्रीति रीति डोल की मंगल आरती मंगल आरती राधावर कृष्णचंद्र भगवान की जय। ओम न तत्र सूर्यो भाति न चंद्र तारकम् नेमा विद्युतो भान्ति कुतो यमग्निः तमेव भान्तमनुभाति सर्वं तस्य भासा सर्वमिदं विभाति। सद्गुरुनाथ महाराज की।
So yes, Mirabai's devotion is like the gopis, though they each of them have their own uniqueness. That is a prema bhakti, where one thinks of Bhagavan as that as their beloved and connects to Bhagavan through that. Gopis always remembered Bhagavan from morning to night. In whatever work they were doing, they were remembering Bhagavan only. They wanted to be one with Bhagavan. They wanted to spend time with him. They wanted to, that Sharad Purnima, that whole Ras Leela Bhagavan does. So whether they are feeding the cow, whether they are milking the cow, they are making the butter, they are taking care of the home, they are doing any work, they are going to fill water, they are thinking of Bhagavan only all the time. And their bhav is Bhagavan is our beloved. We are married to Bhagavan. That is their thought process. They are doing the duties in the world, but in their heart, they have given the heart to Bhagavan. There may be a husband here, there may be a child, they will take care of them, they will love them also, but their deepest love is for Bhagavan and they see Bhagavan in all of them also. So that is the bhavana. More of it we will see as we go in the 10th canto. Ajamil too also was lucky. We saw in the last canto that he took the name of Bhagavan unconsciously also and then how he was liberated. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.